Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo family swordsmith refuses to be cut in half. Chapter 11. Outside the house, Gojo Satoru's expression changed when he heard the content of the bet, and he was about to rush in to stop it. However, his movement was directly blocked by the old man on the side. Satoru, wait a moment. My lord, I do not recognize this bet. Gojo Satoru's face was full of confusion. He didn't know why the old man wanted to stop him. If this bet was really established, according to Gojo Ming's character, he would really fulfill the bet. Don't be anxious, Satoru. Many times, your personality is still a little too impatient. The old man narrowed his eyes slightly and kept his gaze on Gojo Ming in the forge. You and Ming are indeed twins, with complementary personalities. Ming is too calm and steady about many things, while you are too out of the box and impatient. I'm afraid this is really destiny. Wu, don't worry. Do you think with a character like Yi Ming's, he would propose a bet that is bound to lose? Although Zhou Yi is very important to Gojo Ming. However, as the elder brother, you are equally important to Ming. Let's calm down and see how things develop. I'm very curious. A trace of expectation appeared on the old man's face. He was very curious about what kind of shocking things this descendant, who he had not paid attention to for a long time and had been focusing on forging the cursed tool, could do. Is it true, as Gojo Zui said, that Gojo Ming was able to create cursed tool at the age of 6? If this is really the case, Gojo Ming can even be said to have another kind of talent. Unlike many ordinary jujutsu masters, the old man, as the head of the Gojo family, often looks at people and things differently. Ordinary jujutsu masters think that cursed tool is just an auxiliary to the jujutsu master, just the icing on the cake. However, he doesn't think so. In the eyes of the old man, jujutsu master plus cursed tool is the most complete and true jujutsu master. As there is a Chinese saying that goes well, a gentleman is born without being different, and he is good at pretending to be good at things. A qualified jujutsu master must learn to make good use of the cursed tool. This is the fundamental reason why the old man always values Gojo Zui. If the huge Gojo family does not have a cursed tool master as its support, then the sorcerer family's heritage will be completely lost. Now, seeing how disrespectful Gojo Shunyi was to Gojo Takuya, the old man also realized that many things had gone off the track without his attention. Perhaps, I really should make some changes to the entire family. As for the future direction of the family, this kind of big change can only be left to Gojo Satoru and Gojo Naru. The two Six Eyes children should have the courage to make the entire Gojo family stand up again. He is just a conservative dog now. He first helped Satoru and Ming repair the big ship named Gojo, so that the ship can dock smoothly. As for whether Gojo Satoru and Gojo Naru will completely renovate the ship or destroy it and rebuild it, it has nothing to do with him. Compared with the old man's complex thoughts, Gojo Satoru's emotions were much simpler. If Ming really loses, then I will definitely interrupt this bet. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Satoru's pair of blue eyes stared intently at everything happening in the forge, not daring to be careless in the slightest. Master Ming, tell me, how are you going to compete? Gojo looked at Gojo Ming seriously. In his opinion, he had the advantage in this competition. He possesses the strength of a second-level jujutsu master, while Gojo Naru is just an ordinary person with no magical power. The cursed tool in his hand is a second-level cursed tool, which is also the proud work of Gojo Zui, the forging master in front of him, and Gojo Ming's weapon cannot see the cursed tool at all. Even if Gojo Ming's weapon is a cursed tool, how can the apprentice's cursed tool defeat the master's cursed tool? Moreover, Gojo Zhou Yi also said that this cursed tool was forged by Gojo Ming for the first time. With so many factors added up, he really couldn't imagine how he should lose. Even he himself felt that this bet was too unfair to Gojo Ming. Next, as long as Gojo Ming puts forward a reasonable bet request, he is ready to accept it. Of course, the premise is that it must be reasonable. As he spoke, Gojo Shunichi threw the soda Shirayuki in his hand back to Gojo Naru. Since it's a cursed tool competition, I can't bully you. During the whole process, I won't use any magic power. I will just use the magic power and spells in the cursed tool to compare with you. Gojo's request showed his arrogance. After all, he was about to face a 6-year-old child. It was psychologically difficult for him to bully a young child. When Gojo Ming heard this, he didn't particularly refuse. This kind of thing was beneficial to his bet, so it was naturally better for him. At this moment, he had no energy to pay attention to Gojo Shunichi. All his attention was drawn to the Zanpakuto in his hand. Previously, because the Zanpakuto was wrapped in a strip of cloth, Gojo Ming never saw Sota Shirayuki's true appearance. After Sota Shirayuki acquired it, Gojo Ming's face showed the same expression as Gojo Takuya before. Is this Sota no Shirayuki? Why does it look so ordinary? Isn't it said that it is said to be the most beautiful Zanpakuto in Soul Society? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming's eyes widened instantly. This result was not what he expected. If this weapon was not Sota Shirayuki, then I would have lost a lot of money on this bet. What appeared in front of Gojo Ming's eyes was an ordinary tachi with an octagonal blade and a nearly rectangular shape. There were flame-like patterns on both sides of the long side, and magatama-like patterns on the short side. There are curved slits above and below the blade, and a series of curved reliefs on both sides of the blade. The handle of the knife is brownish red. It has a completely different appearance from the Sota Shirayuki in Gojo Naru's memory. Just looking at it this way, it is completely impossible to tell that it is Sota Shirayuki from the Shinigami world. In this cursed tool bet, he originally relied on Zanpakuto Sota Shirayuki. If Sota Shirayuki can't play his role, then his bet this time will definitely be lost. Gojo Ming focused his whole attention on the Zanpakuto's body, and at the same time, the system's voice finally sounded. Detect that the host has successfully bound the Zanpakuto Sota Shirayuki in a shallow fighting state. Please follow the system prompts to explore the original and swastika versions of the Zanpakuto. Close black lens bracket. Tip 1. The shape, state and ability of the Zanpakuto are based on the soul of the god of death himself. The Shinigami gains power by knowing the name of the Zanpakuto given to him and by having spiritual conversations with it. Close black lens bracket. Tip 2. Each knife has its own name. During battle, the god of death can call the name of his knife to liberate himself and release more powerful power to fight. Close black lens bracket. Tip 3. If the Shinigami knows the true name of his Zanpakuto, he can call the true name to release the true form and power of the Zanpakuto. Close black lens bracket. Tip 4. The swastika is the second stage of liberation of the Zanpakuto, which is the final liberation after the first stage of liberation of the Zanpakuto. The prerequisite for swastika is that the Zanpakuto's body can be materialized and surrendered. Close black lens bracket. Through systematic explanations, Gojo Ming finally realized Sota Shirayuki's current situation. Turns out, this is just a shallow fight. It seems that every Zanpakuto forged in the future will enter a state of shallow attack at the beginning. Then, it will be initiated by knowing the true name of the Zanpakuto, and it will be swastika by surrendering to the Zanpakuto. Close black lens bracket. Fortunately, I have understood the system of the Shinigami, and I know the corresponding information for each Zanpakuto of the Shinigami. Otherwise, I was temporarily asked to ask for the name of the Zanpakuto. After asking, Daylily will be confused. It's cold. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming breathed a sigh of relief. Sota Shirayuki, next, we need to fight the world together. Gojo Ming softly called the Zanpakuto's name, and slowly pulled Sota Shirayuki out of the cloth. His actions worried Gojo Takuya on the side, made Gojo on the opposite side chuckle for a moment, and also made Gojo Satoru, who was watching from the outside, nervous. Satoru, are you nervous? The old man felt Gojo Satoru's emotions and asked with a smile. For him, this was the first time he saw Gojo Satoru being nervous. This was extremely rare for Gojo Satoru, who had an out-of-the-box personality. It turns out that Gojo Satoru is not incapable of being nervous, but only produces nervousness for specific people. The old man shook his head, reached out and touched Gojo Satoru's head again, and comforted him in a deep voice. Ming is having a conversation with his cursed tool. Relax, I can feel the difference in that cursed tool. Satoru, please keep your faith in Naru. If nothing else happens, the cursed tool in Naru's hand should be even more powerful. Gojo Satoru nodded slightly, still staring at Gojo Ming, and the decision he had made in his heart remained unchanged. If an accident occurs, he will also become the accident of this bet. Sota Shirayuki. That's a really good name. Because he had watched the entire forging process of Soda Shirayuki, Gojo was very satisfied with the name. Such an elegant and beautiful name fit perfectly with the pure white prop that appeared during the forging. The name Gojo Ming said also allowed Gojo Zui to confirm that the knife he saw before was not an illusion. Soda Shirayuki. For an ordinary weapon, no matter how nice the name is, what can it do? Gojo Shunichi is very disdainful of this name. He has always regarded cursed tool as a prop. Why should he take the name of a prop so seriously? Whether it's Gojo Naru's Soda Shirayuki or the Minami in my own hand, it's just a nickname. Let's start. Uncle Shun, you can also take out your cursed tool. Gojo Naruto raised his hand to strike, and his 6-year-old body held an adult's katana, which looked so disharmonious. Master Ming, this is my cursed tool, Xing Ming. Gojo instantly drew out his katana chime from his waist and raised his hand. Master Ming, you attack and I defend. I will let you see the true power of Shu Ming's cursed tool. Chang Chang Chang. The two samurai swords collided continuously. Gojo Ming swung a shallow strike and repeatedly slashed at Gojo Shunichi. Gojo Shunichi, on the other hand, was holding his Ming Ming, constantly blocking Gojo Ming's attacks. The two people have completely different experiences in kendo skills. Although both of them hold samurai swords, Gojo Ming's skills in kendo are basically zero, while Gojo Shunichi is a kendo master who can be ranked among the entire Gojo family. It is precisely because of such a name that Gojo Shunichi has the confidence to ignore Gojo Ming. However, Gojo Shunichi did not use his kendo experience to bully Gojo Ming. After all, the person in front of me is still just a 6-year-old child. Although he was extremely disgusted with him in his heart, his status as a master of swordsmanship made him unwilling to take the initiative at all. However, the strength of the weapon in Gojo Naru's hand is really extraordinary. You can actually fight against my Xing Ming without breaking the blade. Close black lens bracket. Could it be that this weapon is really the cursed tool? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Shuni had some doubts. If it were an ordinary weapon, the blade would have curled up long ago during this simple duel. This katana named Soda Shirayuki has not changed at all. However, Gojo Shuni cannot feel the magic power from it, which is not very consistent with the characteristics of cursed tool. He frowned and observed Gojo Ming and Soda Shirayuki, the doubts on his face getting heavier and heavier. On the other hand, Gojo Ming's heart was full of surprises. The host is receiving the teachings of the Kendo Master, Kendo Experience plus 10. The host is receiving the teachings of the Kendo Master, Kendo Experience plus 10. The host is receiving the teachings of the Kendo Master, Kendo Experience plus 10. With every swing and slash, Gojo Ming was able to gain corresponding Kendo experience from Gojo Shuni. This is an unexpected surprise for Gojo Ming. Unexpectedly, this annoying guy can actually bring him Kendo experience. Doesn't this mean that the longer he fights with him, the more Kendo wool he will gain from Gojo Shuni? Originally, Gojo Naru was planning to start the Kaikai as soon as possible, so that Gojo could see the true strength of Zanpakuto Soda Shirayuki directly. Now, after discovering that wool can be harvested, he has changed his mind. You must make the best use of everything, and you must squeeze Gojo to the extreme. Thinking of this, Gojo Ming not only continued to increase the speed of slashing, but also began to taunt. Uncle Shun, is this your cursed tool? Can you slash me 100 times and make my Soda Shirayuki curl up? So, don't you still admit that my Soda Shirayuki is cursed tool? Gojo Ming's childish voice deliberately created a kind of innocence, forcing Gojo Shuni to continue to resist his attacks. Cursed tool. At most, it's just that the material you used for forging is relatively strong. This doesn't prove anything. Wait until you actually slash 100 swords before you speak. Gojo showed disdain for a moment. He still didn't believe Soda Shirayuki was cursed tool. Moreover, he didn't even think that Gojo Naru, as a 6-year-old child, could wield an adult katana up to 100 times. There is no way a child's physical strength can sustain it for such a long time. And all this was just as Gojo Shunichi expected. When Gojo Ming slashed 30 times, his strength had become much weaker. After all, not long ago, he used all his strength to forge this Soda Shirayuki. Now, it is indeed very difficult for him to slash it 100 times. Even if he is a carrier of heavenly restriction, he cannot ignore the restrictions imposed on him by his age. 31 knives, 32 knives, 33 knives. Gojo Ming's hands were already sore, but every prompt from the system gave him great motivation. He also knows that this kind of opportunity is absolutely rare. When he wins this bet, Gojo Shunichi may not be so obedient as a sparring partner for him. 40 knives, 41 knives. In the last few minutes, Gojo Ming struck out with 43 strikes, receiving 43 prompts from the system, and gained a total of 430 kendo experience points. Watching the experience value on the system panel increase from 0% to 1%, Gojo Ming's heart ached and felt happy. When his swordsmanship experience reaches the full level, he can open the promotion channel for free. Among the 4 basic skills of Zon Fist and Zon Gui, currently it seems that Bai Da is the most suitable for my body. Heavenly restriction will bring great strengthening to the body. When there is no cursed tool around, the only thing Gojo Ming can use is this body, and hitting in vain is undoubtedly the best attack method. Therefore, for Gojo Ming, he must improve his kendo experience as soon as possible and quickly learn the skills of fighting for nothing. At this moment, facing Gojo Ming's powerless attack, Gojo Shunyi's patience has reached its limit. When Gojo Ming swung the 43rd sword, Gojo Shunichi had clearly felt that Gojo Ming was exhausted. After more than 40 sword fights, there was still no curled blade. Gojo Shunyi was a little shocked in his heart. If this Soda Shirayuki was really forged by Gojo Ming, then the level of forging is really a bit exaggerated. However, he still doesn't think Soda Shirayuki is cursed tool. Master Ming, you've had enough trouble. Next, I won't play this fencing game with you anymore. Let me show you what cursed tool is. Gojo suddenly felt that he had enough respect for the identity of the direct descendants of the Gojo family, and he did not want to waste his time anymore. Gojo suddenly used his strength to deflect Gojo Ming's attack, and the curse power began to pour into the cursed tool in his hand. Xing Ming, harass the enemy. With the influx of spell power, countless cicada cries rang out of thin air throughout the forging house. Xiao means cicada. The chirping of cicadas is the chirping of cicadas. The function of Gojo Shunichi's cursed tool is to interfere with the enemy's will through the instantaneous chirping sound, and at the same time, it can wield an air blade as thin as a cicada's wing. This is his cursed tool, the second-level cursed tool, Xing Ming. Ming, be careful and concentrate. As the forger of Femming, Gojo Zui naturally knows the power of Femming very well. He knew that Gojo Shunichi would not hurt Gojo Ming with the air blade, but if his will was suddenly affected by the cicada's chirping, Gojo Ming would not feel well either. Gojo Zui has already noticed that Gojo Shunyi is ready to directly use the cicada chirp to make Gojo Ming give up the fight. From his perspective, as a witness, everything seemed to be a foregone conclusion. He originally thought that Gojo Ming's Soda Shirayuki could really bring Gojo Ming a trump card, but what he didn't expect was that Soda Shirayuki only had no strength. Others may be shocked that Soda Shirayuki can fight with Xu Ming for more than 40 swords without curling the blade, but Gojo Zui does not find it unusual. After all, this Soda Shirayuki has a first-level cursed tool integrated into its interior. Could it be that Gojo Ming is really going to fail? Outside the house, Gojo Satoru's spell power is already flowing on his body, and he is ready to stop this gamble. Like Gojo Takuya, he also believed that Gojo Ming was at a disadvantage at this time. The katana named Soda Shirayuki could not help Gojo Ming withstand Gojo Shunyi's cicada attack. However, just like before, Gojo Satoru was once again stopped by the old man beside him. Sir, what are you planning to do? Gojo Satoru's face was already full of dissatisfaction, and he even began to doubt the family owner's intentions. Did the family owner really want to see Gojo Ming fail, and then stop Gojo Ming from actively contacting him? Seeing that Gojo Satoru was so excited, the old man shook his head helplessly. Logically speaking, you and Joyi should be the people who know Ming best, right? Why are you feeling more impatient than an old man like me? Didn't you see Ming's expression? Do you think Ming with this expression was forced into a desperate situation? The old man pointed at Gojo Ming, who was holding Shirayuki in his sleeve, with a playful smile on his face. Gojo Satoru frowned, looked at Gojo Ming's face, and froze. At this moment, there was no panic on Gojo Ming's face, but an extremely confident smile. Open black lens bracket. What's happening here? Could it be that Ming has other trump cards in his hand at this time? Close black lens bracket. Could it be that this sleeve by Shui has other functions? Close black lens bracket. If this is really the case, why did Naru and Shun pair fight so many times? What's the point? Close black lens bracket. There is no doubt that both Gojo Satoru and Gojo Takuya were led astray by Gojo Ming's meaningless 43 swords. Without a system, they naturally don't know what kind of benefits Gojo Ming's previous 43 swords brought him. This time, Gojo Satoru chose to believe Gojo Ming. He also really wanted to know what the stage prepared by his younger brother was like. He hopes that Gojo Ming can show the ability to convince Gojo Shunny. He knew that his brother would not be useless. Feeling the magic power and magic flowing from Gojo Ming's blade, Gojo Ming felt a little regretful in his heart. It seems that the wool can only go so far. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming shook his head, gathered his thoughts, raised his right hand to strike lightly, raised it to eye level, and shouted loudly. Ling Wu, Shu Bai Shui. As the Zanpakuto began to chant, the pattern of the shallow blow in Gojo Ming's hand began to change. The blade, guard, and handle all turned pure white in an instant. The blade also changed from square to oval, with 6 hollows appearing. A mysterious pattern appeared on the front end of the knife handle, and a white ribbon appeared out of thin air at the end connection. Everyone at the scene was shocked. What happened? I didn't blink. How could it be? Can the appearance of cursed tool still change? Why did the cursed tool change its form directly after Gojo Ming said those words? Close black lens bracket. Seeing Soda no Shirayuki's true appearance revealed with his own eyes, how could Gojo Shunichi still be firm in his previous opinions? This is definitely not an ordinary samurai sword. This is really like what Gojo Zui said, it is really a cursed tool. There is such a magical cursed tool. Unexpectedly, Naru's talent is actually reflected in cursed tool forging, Soda Shirayuki. This kind of changing form of cursed tool will probably directly subvert the pattern of the cursed tool industry, right? Close black lens bracket. The old man's eyes were shining brightly as he stared at the Zanpakuto in Gojo Ming's hand, feeling very excited. He seemed to have seen Gojo Ming's future, and saw that Gojo Ming was walking a completely different path. Open black lens bracket. So beautiful. The real appearance of this sleeved snow is so beautiful, it matches a Ming's appearance perfectly, and perfectly fits a Ming's temperament. Close black lens bracket. Is this the cursed tool forged by a Ming? Sure enough, a Ming will not let me down. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Satoru's eyes flashed with joy. Regardless of the strength of Soda Shirayuki, Gojo Ming's ability to forge the cursed tool at this age has completely exceeded the boundaries of ordinary people. He has the strongest jujutsu talent, and a Ming has the strongest blacksmithing talent. Gojo Satoru believes that the two brothers will become the strongest combination in the entire jujutsu world. Soda no Shirayuki's appearance matches well with Gojo Naru's. Of course, it also matches my appearance. As expected, sure enough, this cursed tool really looks like this. I saw it correctly before. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Zui's face was full of excitement. Sure enough, it was because he used it the wrong way, so he couldn't transform the katana into such a pure white appearance. The temperament of this knife is too sharp. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, it would be hard to believe that this knife was made by a 6-year-old child. Close black lens bracket. Is this powerful frost power a curse? Ah Ming can actually use magic power. Could it be said that heavenly restriction has been lifted? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Zui's eyes were fixed on Gojo Ming's body, and he had realized that this Soda Shirayuki was definitely not only strong enough. There is an unusual technique hidden in this knife. This is the judgment of a cursed tool master, and it is also the result of his close observation. Master Ming, so what if you can forge the cursed tool? Is your Soda Shirayuki stronger than my Xing Ming? The water in cursed tool is very deep, Master Ming. Feeling the energy revealed in Soda Shirayuki, Gojo Shunny didn't know what it was, but he still classified it as a magical power. At this moment, he still had confidence. He felt that Gojo's chirping could not stop the interference of the cicada chirping. With the mental strength of Gojo Ming as a 6-year-old child, he would soon be unable to support himself in front of Xing Ming. Really, Uncle Shun, I think that as a cursed tool master, I should know more about the cursed tool industry than you. Gojo Ming raised his eyebrows slightly and waved Soda Shirayuki with his right hand, placing it against his skin. The coldness of the frost instantly dispelled the sleepiness in his mind. At this moment, the noisy chirping of cicadas was completely isolated by the chill of Soda Shirayuki. Shin Ming's cursed tool is very strong, but, I'm sorry, my Soda Shirayuki is even more powerful. Gojo Ming continued to chant, the first dance you buy. With the wave of Soda Shirayuki in his hand, Gojo Ming drew a circle on the ground with the tip of Soda Shirayuki. The next second, everyone at the scene felt a chill spreading on the ground. This is Gojo Satoru, who is extremely sensitive to the power of magic, changed his face slightly. He could feel that this power did not belong to the power of magic, but the way it circulated was exactly the same as magic power. Moreover, this move called First Dance Moon White is very similar to the technique. A Ming is unable to control the spells, so through forging, Cursed Tool has the unique spell power and spells of Cursed Tool. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Satoru could only think of this explanation. At the same time, the expressions of Gojo Shunny and Gojo Zui in the forge had completely changed. Being inside the house, their experience of the dance of the first moon white was even more profound. Being in the circle drawn by the white moon, they felt the chill getting worse and worse, as if the blood in their bodies would be drained in the next second. Frozen. Is this a cursed tool used by a person without cursing power? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Shunichi was completely shocked by Soda Shirayuki's move. If a person without cursing power can release spells by using the cursed tool, doesn't it mean that the gap between Jujutsu masters and ordinary people will be greatly shortened? Gojo Ming, is he such a terrible person? Will such a person, forging such a cursed tool, change the entire Jujutsu world? The scorpion in Gojo's hand has begun to tremble silently. Cicadas can only sing in summer, and in the face of this overwhelming winter atmosphere, cursed tool Xingming can only retreat into silence. Careful. Gojo Satoru and the old man outside the house rushed into the forging house at the same time, and used unlimited spells to protect Gojo Shunny and Gojo Takuya. The next second, a huge snowfall spewed out from the circle on the ground, directly lifting the entire roof off. The originally blazing stove was completely frozen by the power of the white frost. At this moment, the entire Gojo family was in shock. The expressions of all the Jujutsu masters changed the moment they saw this towering snowfall appearing within the family. What happened? Why did such a powerful magic technique break out within the family? Could it be that someone attacked the Gojo family? All the Jujutsu masters immediately put down their work and rushed towards the forge. In the entire Gojo family, the only person worthy of assassination by outsiders is Gojo Satoru, who possesses 6 eyes. The future of the family must not be harmed. Every Jujutsu master of the Gojo family adheres to this idea and moves quickly within the family. At this moment, inside the forge house, Gojo Naru held Soda Shirayuki in his hand and had a new understanding of the power of the Zanpakuto. 6 years after his birth, he finally had a trump card. So what if there are no spells and spells? He has a Zanpakuto, but now it is just a Soda Shirayuki. When he later forges more Zanpakuto, he will forge Hanaden Kwangu, Pisces Ri, Kyokus Wigetsu, Ruken Wakahu. Then he can use the abilities of multiple Zanpakuto at the same time. A Zanpakuto is equivalent to a Jujutsu master in this world. Don't you think I'm useless and have no magic power? When I become an army by myself in the future, I may not necessarily need the support of the Gojo family. Gojo Naru chuckled lightly and raised Soda Shirayuki in front of him. Sure enough, you are the most beautiful Zanpakuto. Soda no Shirayuki. This time, in this world, there is no Rukia Kuchiki as your master. In the future, please obey my orders and fight with me. Gojo Naru looked at the white-haired boy reflected in Soda Shirayuki's blade, and a raging fire burned in his ordinary heart. In the future, I will not be a bystander. King of Curses Ryomen Sukuna. In the future, let me see the power that can cut the Gojo family in half. Within the no lower limit technique, Gojo Shunny and Gojo Takuya fell into silence as they looked at Gojo Ming with snow on his sleeves. At this moment, Gojo Shunny has fully realized that he has really lost. The Soda Shirayuki in Gojo Ming's hand completely surpassed his Ming Ming. This intensity of cursed tool has completely subverted his imagination. Master of the family, Master Wu, are you okay? Because of the appearance of Hatsumai Yubai, Jujutsu masters appeared one after another around the forge house. Seeing Gojo Satoru unleashing the unlimited technique, they all showed vigilance, looking around for the enemy who unleashed such an attack. However, they could not see any enemies. They only saw Gojo Ming standing on the ground holding a white katana. What happened? All the subsequent Jujutsu masters looked puzzled, and it seemed that there were no other traces of battle at the scene. Could it be that a killer attacked Gojo's house? As if he was aware that more and more Jujutsu masters were gathering here, a trace of doubt flashed in the old man's eyes, and finally he said directly. There was a problem just now when Master Joyi forged the cursed tool. It's not a big deal. You can disperse. Don't let other people come here again. There was a change in the forging house just now, and you will be in corresponding danger when you come here. The old man's words were sonorous and powerful, but they were not very convincing. Everyone who arrived at the scene realized that the old man was hiding something. If it is really Gojo Zui who is forging some cursed tool, why, at this moment, is Master Gojo Ming standing on the ground, but Master Gojo Zui is protected by Master Wu? Did something happen to Mr. Gojo Ming? Could it be that Gojo Ming is not the good-for-nothing twin in the rumors? Could it be that he also possesses spells and spells? Such an idea appeared in everyone's mind, but then, they lowered their heads and did not dare to think too much. In the Gojo family, the words of the head of the family and the deputy are unquestionable. Since the head of the family believes that this kind of thing cannot be spread casually, they can only keep everything they saw today in their hearts. Under the old man's order, the arriving Jujutsu divisions began to evacuate the forge house one after another, and at the same time began to intercept the Jujutsu divisions that continued to come. Within a few hundred meters of the entire forging house, only Gojo Ming and others were left. The old man and Gojo Satoru fell from the sky. Gojo Satoru unlocked the unlimited technique and released Gojo Shunny and Gojo Takuya. Naru, is this Soda Shirayuki the cursed tool forged by you? Gojo Satoru looked curious and came directly to Gojo Naru's side. He realized that although the two of them had been together for 6 years, he didn't seem to know his brother very well. He has always felt guilty for what he did to Gojo Ming when he was still in his mother's womb, and he wants to help Gojo Ming regain his magic power so that he can also become a Jujutsu master. However, at this time, he was shocked to find that his younger brother's talent was not inferior to his own at all. Although he himself is not a Jujutsu master, the cursed tool he forged is a Jujutsu master. When Gojo Ming holds the Soda Shirayuki in his hand, isn't it equivalent to a Jujutsu master with the power of ice? Moreover, there is such a unique technique. Forget it. It was forged by a flash of inspiration, but instead of calling it cursed tool, I decided to call it Zanpakuto. Gojo Ming nodded slightly, and Soda Shirayuki shook it slightly. During the swing, Soda Shirayuki's white blade began to slowly fade, and then turned into the previous shallow sword. Zanpakuto. Gojo Satoru could not understand the meaning of the name Gojo Naru, but he could clearly understand that Gojo Naru created a new genre in the world of cursed tool. It's really unimaginable. Since your Soda Shirayuki can defeat Shunny's chiming, does this mean that Soda Shirayuki is equivalent to the quality of a first-level cursed tool? Gojo Satoru is constantly measuring Gojo Naruto's strength. He wants to know who is stronger between himself and Gojo Naruto who is holding Soda Shirayuki. Among them, one is the Jujutsu master who possesses 6 eyes, and the other is the cursed tool master who also possesses 6 eyes. Perhaps, in the eyes of others, Gojo Satoru is definitely better than Gojo Ming. However, in Gojo Satoru's own opinion, he who has not fully grown up at this time may not be able to take advantage of Soda Shirayuki. I guess so. Gojo Ming couldn't give specific criteria for judging Zanpakuto. Soda Shirayuki may not have any amazing achievements in Soul Society, but as the most beautiful one in Soul Society, it also has its own status. Such a Zanpakuto is equivalent to a first-level cursed tool, which is not an exaggeration. In Gojo Naru's view, Soda Shirayuki should be somewhere between a first-level cursed tool and a special-level cursed tool. After all, for Soul Society, the Zanpakuto is basically another life of the god of death. Without the Zanpakuto, many people would not even be able to fight. Simply comparing Sota no Shirayuki with level 1 cursed tool is not fair to Sota no Shirayuki. Thinking of this, the corners of Gojo Ming's mouth slightly raised, and he whispered to Gojo Satoru. My Zanpakuto does not need to be classified according to the ratings of the cursed tool world. Every Zanpakuto I forge will be unique. Sota Shirayuki is Sota Shirayuki. Whether it is powerful or not depends entirely on the strength of its user. Gojo Naru patted Gojo Satoru's shoulder, inserted the sword in his hand into the sheath, and turned his attention to Gojo Shunyi, who was aside. Uncle Shun, I should be considered the winner of this bet, right? Gojo's voice was calm, but it still attracted the attention of everyone else. As bystanders who had been there from the beginning, both the old man and Gojo Satoru knew about Gojo Shunichi and Gojo Ming's bet. Facing Gojo Ming's inquiry, Gojo's expression turned ugly for a moment, but he did not deny it in any way. He looked at the Fenming in his hand, silently inserted it into his waist, and walked to Gojo Zui's side. Master Zhou Yi, I offended you today. Please forgive me for any inappropriateness. Gojo Shunichi knelt down directly on the cold ground, silently used the earth seat, and apologized to Gojo Takuya. From now on, whenever you are around, I will definitely stay away, as Master Ming said. The moment Gojo finished speaking, the ice and snow waterfall in the middle of the forge suddenly shattered, turned into streaks of frost power, and completely disappeared into the air. Gojo Zui looked at Gojo for a moment, was silent for a moment, and shook his head. I don't need you to shy away from me, I just need you to show enough respect for Gojo Naru. He also has 6 eyes. He is Satoru's younger brother and a direct descendant of the Gojo family. This time, Gojo Zui completely exposed the Gemini Curse Party's views on Gojo Ming in front of the house owner. Before, if Gojo Ming was just an ordinary person without magic power, then he would make a bowl of chicken soup and let Gojo Ming live an honest life. After this incident, he has seen Gojo Ming's powerful talent. Under such circumstances, it would be truly unfair for Gojo Ming to just endure. Gojo Shunyi also fell into silence, his eyes constantly wandering on Gojo Satoru and Gojo Ming. Under such comparison, he was shocked to find that the relationship between Gojo Ming and Gojo Satoru had always been very close, and the existence of curse had not affected the two brothers at all. Two identical children stand next to each other. If they were not deliberately distinguished, it would be impossible to tell who is Gojo Satoru and who is Gojo Ming. Did we take the wrong path from the beginning? Close black lens bracket. Is our initial prejudice against Gojo Ming wrong? Close black lens bracket. 6 eyes as the savior of the Gojo family. Gojo Satoru is 6 eyes, Gojo Ming is also 6 eyes. How can mortals like them be qualified to judge whether 6 eyes is true or false? At this moment, Gojo Shuichi had doubts about the theory of the twin curse faction. The twins of ordinary Jujutsu master families are curse, but for the sacred 6 eyes, will this still be curse? If it was really curse, why did 6 eyes fall on 2 people? Gojo's eyes were fixed on Gojo Ming's body for a moment. It doesn't have a trace of curse power, but it is able to forge a magical cursed tool that is comparable to the strength of a Jujutsu master. Perhaps, as Gojo Zui said, the future of the Gojo family not only lies with Satoru, but also with Gojo Ming. Gojo nodded in a flash, kneeled in front of Gojo Ming, sat down on the ground towards Gojo Ming, put his forehead on the ground, and said loudly, Master Ming, I was too arrogant. I once commented on the existence of 6 eyes as a mortal, but I cared too much about the curse of Gemini. Now, I have seen your talent. You will definitely stand at the top of the Jujutsu world with Master Wu in the future. I am willing to accept any punishment for my previous disrespect to you. Gojo Shunyi has completed the transformation of consciousness. He once thought that after seeing Gojo Satoru's amazing Jujutsu talent, he would no longer be surprised by anyone. No matter how talented that person is, there is no way he can match Gojo Satoru. But now, he realizes that he was wrong. In terms of Jujutsu talent, Gojo Satoru is the most powerful, but in terms of other talents, Gojo Ming is equally amazing. Gojo Ming was very surprised to see Gojo's attitude change so completely in an instant. Originally, he thought that Gojo Shunyi would be the first villain he would encounter in the Gojo family in the future, but he never thought that Gojo Shunyi would choose to admit his mistakes so straightforwardly. This made Gojo Ming's previous ideas useless. And just when Gojo Ming was thinking about how to deal with Gojo Shunichi, Gojo Satoru beside him had already spoken. Shunyi, your disrespect for Ming has seriously affected the entire family. I have decided to cancel your position as guard captain. Gojo Satoru's expression was very cold, showing no emotion at all to the captain who had been guarding him for several years. Gojo's expression froze for a moment, but he didn't make any objection. Let's do this, Shunyi. I've seen everything that just happened. I think your character still needs to be tempered. In the future, you can guard the back door of Gojo's house. The old man on the side gave Gojo the final punishment in a flash. This is something he promised Gojo Satoru before, and it will definitely give Gojo Satoru a result. Yes, master, I am willing to accept this punishment. Gojo's mood suddenly became very low. In the eyes of others, letting a swordsman master serve as the guard of the Gojo family is too extravagant. This kind of person would not be supported by any family other than the big three sorcerer families. However, Gojo Shunyi accepted the punishment decision of Gojo family head so directly without any complaints. Seeing this scene, Gojo Ming's expression changed. Master, I don't know if I can make a request. Listening to a voice that was much calmer than Gojo Satoru's, the old man turned his head to look at Gojo Ming. His eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at the twins who had survived to this day because of his decision. Oh, Ming, what is your request? In the past 6 years, I have indeed neglected to pay attention to you, so that Shunyi has been discriminating against you. Whatever you need, I can grant it to you. The old man's cloudy eyes were full of expectation. He wanted to know what kind of needs a child like Gojo Ming, who had basically never been met in his family, would put forward. From the moment Gojo Ming was born, he always had a feeling that Gojo Ming would be the one born to know. If this kind of thing happened in other families, Gojo Ming might be regarded as evil. However, it is not surprising that Gojo Ming was born in the Gojo family and possesses the sacred 6 eyes. He is a person who is born to know. Would you choose to observe the family's secret unlimited technique? Or will you choose a higher status in the family? Close black lens bracket. The old man looked forward to Gojo Ming's needs. However, the next second, Gojo Ming's demand completely shocked the old man, and even Gojo Satoru and Gojo Takuya opened their eyes subconsciously. Master, I want Uncle Shun to teach me the way of the sword. Ha! When Gojo heard these words, he subconsciously raised his head, his heart filled with shock. Doesn't Gojo Ming know his identity? He has said before that he is a member of the Gemini Curse faction. The old man also opened his mouth to clarify Gojo Shunyi's identity. Ming, Shunyi also represents another tribe that is hostile to you, did you know? Gojo Ming nodded and shrugged. They are hostile to me. What does it have to do with me? The only thing I want is to learn the way of swordsmanship. As far as I know, Uncle Shun is the best in the family in swordsmanship. Is he enough to teach me? For Gojo Ming, it doesn't matter who teaches him, but the experience taught by a sword master like Gojo Shunichi will improve him even more. For him now, forging his Zanpakuto and improving his swordsmanship level are the 2 most important things at the moment. Zanpakuto, Gojo Naru Mirai's trump card when it comes to it. The level of Kendo involves unlocking the ability to follow up with White Fighter, Shunpo and Kido, neither of which can be put down. Therefore, in the future, his energy and time will definitely be spent in the forging house. Instead of finding a teacher to teach you the art of swordsmanship, it would be better to just use a ready-made one. Anyway, the distance between the back gate of the family that Gojo is guarding and the forging house is very close, so he can gain experience in Kendo after being tired from forging. Why not? Gojo Naru's suggestion made both the old man and Gojo Satoru think deeply. After a moment, Gojo Satoru and the old man looked at each other and made a decision to agree. They don't know what Gojo Ming's true purpose is, but for a person who can forge the magical cursed tool at the age of 6, there is no need to reject such a small request. Moreover, in the eyes of the old man, he also thought that Gojo Ming forged Sota Shirayuki, so he wanted to try to develop in Kendo. In this way, Gojo Shunichi, who was originally hostile to Gojo Ming, became Gojo Ming's nominal Kendo teacher and actual swordsmanship partner after going through this operation. After solving Gojo Shunichi's problem, the old man also revealed the reason why he brought Gojo Satoru here this time. Cursed Tool Yi Ning. I hope this cursed tool can be used by Satoru. The old man made this request to Gojo Zui very straightforwardly. In his opinion, this cursed tool must be on Gojo Zui's body. However, what the old man did not expect was that after he made this request, Gojo Zui suddenly looked embarrassed, his eyes glanced at Gojo Ming from time to time, and the air suddenly fell into silence. After being glanced at by Gojo Zui 4 or 5 times, Gojo Ming finally couldn't bear it anymore. Master Zhou Yi, isn't Yi Ning at your place? The master of the house has spoken, so he will give Yi Ning to him. Anyway, I will be able to forge other cursed tools in the future. Gojo Ming thought it was Gojo Zui who was reluctant to part with this first-level cursed tool, so he quickly urged him. The head of the Gojo family asked, how could a cursed tool master like Gojo Zui refuse? Hearing Gojo Ming say this, Gojo Zui's expression suddenly became more embarrassed. My lord, the Yi Ning is gone. What? No more. What do you mean, Zhou Yi? The old man frowned, not understanding the meaning of Gojo Takuya's words. Gojo Satoru, Gojo Ming and Gojo Shunyi also raised their heads at the same time and cast doubtful glances at Gojo Takuya. Gojo Zui found that Gojo Ming was so puzzled, and he also realized that Gojo Ming didn't even realize that Yi Ning was used when forging Soda Shirayuki. He took a deep breath helplessly and described the process of Gojo Ming forging the cursed tool. Then, feeling everyone's eyes turning to him, Gojo Ming scratched his head in embarrassment. After working on it for a long time, it turned out that Yi Ning disappeared because of herself. After Gojo Zui said this, Gojo Ming indeed recalled that when he was forging, he took out a cold material from the side. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be cursed tool Yi Ning. Using a first-level cursed tool as a forging material is really a bit of a luxury for me. So, my lord, Yi Ning has transformed into Soda Shirayuki at this time, so there is no way to leave it to Satoru. After listening to Gojo Zui's explanation, the old man nodded helplessly. Although he was not able to help Gojo Satoru obtain a good weapon, the old man felt that it was a gain to understand the forging principle of Gojo Satoru's magical Zanpakuto. Next, he planned to let other cursed tool masters try to see if they could forge a cursed tool like the Zanpakuto by using the finished cursed tool as a material. Moreover, he also felt the brotherhood between Gojo Satoru and Gojo Ming, and he also believed that Gojo Ming would definitely prepare a cursed tool for Gojo Satoru that best suited him in the future. Children and grandchildren will have their own blessings. Let the younger generations handle these matters themselves. With the departure of the old man, Gojo Satoru's newly suppressed personality was suddenly released. Naru, I also want a Zanpakuto like this, understand? Gojo Satoru directly showed his dominance as an older brother. Although he also likes Soda no Shirayuki's Zanpakuto, after all, this is the equipment that Gojo Ming relies on most for his current survival, and he cannot win over others' love no matter what. Upon hearing Gojo Satoru's request, Gojo Ming rolled his eyes. How can a Zanpakuto be so easy to forge? What the hell are you thinking about, Satoru? Gojo Satoru flashed to Gojo Naru's side in an instant, strangled Gojo Naru's neck with his right hand, and said reluctantly. I don't care if it's good or not, but I just want a Zanpakuto. Do you understand? I want a Zanpakuto with the same special abilities as your Soda Shirayuki. Gojo Satoru, who was almost out of breath after being attacked by Gojo Satoru, quickly patted the arm holding his neck and begged loudly for mercy. Okay, I understand. I will forge it for you, but, Satoru, you must agree to one of my requirements. You can ask for it. Just say it quickly. Gojo Satoru let go of his arms and looked at Gojo Naru expectantly. Gojo took a long breath, twisted his neck, and said seriously. Satoru, I ask you to carry this Zanpakuto with you no matter how powerful you become in the future. Even if you become the strongest Jujutsu master in the future, you must carry it with you. Gojo Ming knew his brother's future. As the representative of the Gojo family, Gojo Satoru is definitely qualified to possess the special grade cursed tool. However, in future battles, Gojo Satoru will basically fight the enemy with bare hands. There is no doubt that because he has become the strongest Jujutsu master in the world, many cursed tools are just a burden to Gojo Satoru. The enemies he needs to defeat using the cursed tool probably don't exist yet. However, No one could have imagined that the most powerful jujutsu master in the world would eventually be cut in half. In this life, he was reborn in this world and became Gojo Satoru's younger brother. Such a close blood relationship between the two makes it impossible for Gojo Ming to just sit back and watch Gojo Satoru go down the same old path. Therefore, he must correct Gojo Satoru's arrogance from an early age. He wants Gojo Satoru to never let go of his Zanpakuto, just like the god of death in Soul Society. Satoru, can you accept it? Seeing Gojo Naru's suddenly serious expression, the frivolous Gojo Satoru subconsciously stood up straight. He didn't know why Gojo Ming made such a strange request, but he could feel the deep concern from Gojo Ming's words. After thinking carefully for a moment, Gojo Satoru nodded. Ming, I can accept this request. However, I also have a precondition. If I am to carry this Zanpakuto all the time, then this sword must be cool enough and handsome enough. Gojo Satoru's request made Gojo Ming speechless. Sure enough, Gojo Satoru is still the same Gojo Satoru. No matter how old he is, he seems to be developing into the pretender in the future. Goyoru let out a long sigh and nodded helplessly. Yes, I will definitely forge an extremely cool Zanpakuto for you. While agreeing to Gojo Satoru's request, Gojo Ming has already begun to think about which Zanpakuto is suitable for Gojo Satoru to use in Soul Society. When the world's strongest jujutsu master possesses a powerful Zanpakuto. With such a combination, no matter how strong the future Ryomen Sukuna is, they should be unable to defeat Gojo Satoru. Ming, you have to take care of yourself today. Gojo Zui woke up Gojo Ming early in the morning, and then a team of servants came in and began to wash and dress Gojo Ming. What's going on? The sleepy Gojo Ming looked around in confusion, completely unaware of what day it was. Last night, he and Gojo Shunny stayed up late fencing, and finally raised their proficiency in Kendo to 80%. Today, he was planning to raise his Kendo proficiency to the maximum level in one go, and then start fighting for free. Why is it that someone is disturbing someone's dreams so early in the morning? I knew you had forgotten, didn't you? I reminded you a week ago that today is the day that the Zenin family and other sorcerer families come to visit. As direct descendants of the Gojo family, you and Satoru have to attend. You two are the real purpose of the Zenin family's visit this time. They just came to see the future of the Gojo family. Gojo Ming's little face was wiped with hot water by the servant, and he instantly came to his senses. Is today the day to meet Zenin? For this future Zenin who will be the enemy of Gojo Satoru and at the same time, get the title of Sky and Tyrant, Gojo Ming has always had a little expectation in his heart. The carrier of heavenly restriction is an extremely lonely existence in this world. The two of them have never had a chance to meet each other. In this world, the only two losers without any magic power, today, in the Gojo family's mansion, they are finally going to meet. Zenin. Gojo Ming allowed himself to be manipulated by his servant, while thinking about how to connect with Zenin. Today I want to get to know this tyrant of heaven and earth, but I don't know if Zenin's mentality is normal at this time. It shouldn't be that twisted yet, after all, it will still be a long time before Zenin leaves the Zenin family. Close black lens bracket. If possible, we still can't let Zenin and Satoru become rivals in the future. Although Satoru learned the reversal technique through the battle with Zenin Shiji, but the reversal method does not necessarily need to be killed by Zenin Shiji before he can understand it. Close black lens bracket. If Zenin Shiji cut Satoru's throat, he had used Teniboho which could forcibly cancel the activation of the technique, then Satoru might have really died in the hands of Zenin Shiji. Then, the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm afraid the line will also change. Close black lens bracket. Zenin will become a killer in the future, but at this time, the Zenin family and the Gojo family are not enemies yet. As long as both parties maintain a good relationship, Zenin may not be unable to become Satoru and his friend. Close black lens bracket. The most important thing is that Zenin Shire has no sense of belonging to the Zenin family at all. If we can introduce a girl from the Gojo family to Zenin Shire might even become Gojo Shire in the future. Close black lens bracket. Just like that, while thinking, Gojo Ming was taken out of the room by Gojo Zui. Outside the forge house, Gojo Satoru was already waiting outside the door. Satoru, why don't you go in? What are you waiting for outside? Gojo Ming looked confused. Looking at Gojo Satoru, who looked like a porcelain doll, he felt like, oh, they are only 6 years old now. Why should I go in? Should I go in and be manipulated by those women again? Gojo Satoru looked at Gojo Ming helplessly. Looking at Gojo Ming's blue kimono that was exactly the same as his own, a trace of sympathy flashed in his eyes. After Gojo Satoru said this, Gojo Ming suddenly recalled the fear of being controlled by those women just now. He is just a child, and he has to be manipulated, put on makeup, and groomed by these women. It was precisely because he could not resist at all that he emptied his mind and thought about so many things with Zenin. Satoru, your clothes are too cute. Gojo Ming calmed down and complained subconsciously. When Gojo Satoru heard this, he also directly retorted. What do you think you are? We are exactly the same. Even our clothes are the same. If you say I'm pretending, aren't you the same way? After saying this, the two people looked at each other and laughed. Master Wu, Master Ming. We have to get there. Gojo Shunyi came to Gojo Satoru and Gojo Naru holding an umbrella. Seeing the large black paper umbrella held by Gojo Shunichi, Gojo Ming realized that light snow was falling outside. On the other side, the main entrance of Gojo's house. A middle-aged man with a sinister face walked into Gojo's house with several people. The group of people were all wearing very formal kimonos with the same ethnic pattern embroidered on them. The visitors are all descendants of the Zenin family. Today, led by the family elder Zenin Fan, they came specially to visit the Gojo family and greet the successor of Six Eyes. Seriously, I wonder if the two Six Eyes of Gojo's family are equally powerful. Two older young men followed Zenin Fan casually. One of them had a scar on his face. He looked the oldest and had a somewhat ferocious appearance. The other person looked indifferent and showed no trace of spirit at all. Jinichi, so if you want to come here, you can just come by yourself, right? Why do you have to bring me with you? I'm not a jujutsu master. This time it should be an exchange between jujutsu master families. I'm just an ordinary person. Zenin really couldn't keep his spirits up. Although he was very curious about Gojo's Six Eyes, he was really not willing to come here to observe it. However, his own brother is also here, so running away like this is not a good idea. Behind Zenin Shear, another sinister-looking young man looked at Zenin Shear with eyes full of malice. Zenin Shinsuke, the most talented among the younger generation of the Zenin family, is currently only 8 years old and has become a third-level jujutsu master. This time, one of the purposes of Zenin Fan leading the team to Gojo's house was to let the most talented person in the family see the Six Eyes of Gojo's house. However, this journey is destined to be unpleasant. Zenin Shinsuke is the staunchest mantra-only believer in the Zenin family. For a peer like Zenin Jinji who has no magic power, he feels from the bottom of his heart that Zenin Jinji is a scum that has tarnished the bloodline of the entire Zenin family. However, for Zenin Shear, Zenin Shinsuke's malice is not at all in his eyes. Regardless of Six Eyes or talent, for Zenin, it is just another life. At his current age, he has already felt the powerful physical body provided by heavenly restriction. If there really was a fight with Zenin Shinsuke, Zenin Shear was confident that he would be able to deal with this most talented person among the younger generation of the Zenin family within 10 minutes. Following the Gojo family's waiter into the main hall, Zenin found that a guest had already arrived before them. On one side of the main hall, a girl with a brown bun was sitting with no one around her, looking very lonely. However, this girl acted very calmly. She didn't care about other people's comments and just tasted the snacks on the table casually. On the other side of the girl, a young man was sitting alone behind a table. He looked at the brown-haired girl from time to time, and then the two began to taste snacks at the same time. Strange character. After Zenin entered the main hall, he glanced at the strange duo on the side and ignored them. He went to find acquaintances from the Gojo family and began to learn about Six Eyes. Zenin, and Zenin Shinsuke each entered their own positions under the guidance of the waiter. The entire main hall was crowded with people. Rather than saying this was an exchange, it was more like a gathering between jujutsu master families. However, among the families present, the Zenin family and the Gojo family were the first, so to the outside world, it looked more like a meeting between the Gojo family and the Zenin family. The waiting time is unbearable, and Zenin felt very bored even 5 minutes after sitting down. After obtaining the waiter's consent, he temporarily left the hall to get some fresh air outside. I would like to ask, who are the young man and girl sitting across from us just now? It seems that they are also jujutsu masters, right? Zenin asked casually for information about other people in the hall. As a member of the Zenin family, you will also receive corresponding respect in the Gojo family. Moreover, because the information was not required to be kept confidential, the waiter followed Zenin's question and gave the answer. Today, Lord Ieri Inamitsu came to the mansion to perform a reversal technique treatment on the head of the family. This girl is the daughter of the Ieri family, named Ieri Shoko. The other young man is a distant relative of the Gojo family, Master Okatsu. I heard that he is currently traveling around Neon to improve his knowledge. This time, he also came here specifically to visit Gojo Satoru and Master Gojo Naru. Hearing the waiter's answer, Zenin nodded and lit a cigarette aside. Ieri and Okatsu. Zenin said that he didn't know much about these two families. He had heard of the Ieri family a little bit, and heard that they were famous for their inversion therapy. As for the Okatsu family, he had never heard of it. When did the Gojo family have this distant relative? Zenin thought for a while, then put these two names aside. At least, in his current view, everything about the Jujutsu master has nothing to do with him. If he hadn't been dragged here by his own eldest brother, he really wouldn't want to attend this party. In this way, Zenin walked casually and slowly moved away from the main hall. Fine snow kept falling on Zenin's hair, and he didn't care at all. He looked very relaxed and lazy. The cigarette in his mouth has accumulated a lot of ash, but he has no intention of cleaning it. Just when Zenin was about to turn around and go back, he suddenly saw three figures appearing on another path. A tall middle-aged man was holding an umbrella, and under the umbrella were two identical white-haired children. These should be the two six eyes of Gojo's family. It's the first time I've seen them in person. They are still very young indeed. Close black lens bracket. Zenin looked at the backs of Gojo Satoru and Gojo Ming, held the cigarette in his right hand, took a deep puff, and blew out a smoke ring. However, the next second, the two teenagers under the umbrella in the distance turned around at the same time, and two pairs of blue eyes looked at him at the same time. The cold taste in those eyes made Zenin's heart palpitate. Is this the eye of heaven? Even though I was standing behind them, they could easily spot me. Close black lens bracket. Gojo's six eyes should not be underestimated. Close black lens bracket. On the other side, Gojo Satoru and Gojo Ming saw Zenin in the distance, and their expressions changed slightly. Master Wu, Master Ming, what's wrong? Gojo stopped when he saw the two of them, and asked with confusion. He just followed the sight of the two people and looked into the distance, but didn't find anything strange. That person just made me feel a little threatened. Gojo Satoru frowned slightly. He could clearly feel that there was no magic flowing on the young man just now, but why could he feel threatened? Ever since he mastered the unlimited technique, he rarely had that threatening premonition. The person just now was not from the Gojo family. Looking at the decorations on the kimono, he came from the Zenin family. Is there such a powerful person in the Zenin family? Gojo Satoru had some doubts in his heart. Next to him, Gojo Ming, who was holding Soda Shirayuki, shook his head helplessly. Unexpectedly, I was involved in the famous scene where Gojo Satoru and Zenin met for the first time. This feeling that was suddenly discovered by Gojo Satoru and himself will definitely be remembered by Zenin. The sight of the eye of the sky is indeed too buggy. In battle, it inherently has a huge advantage. Don't worry, Satoru, maybe that person will become our friend in the future. I think there will be many opportunities for us to deal with this person in the future. Gojo Ming smiled and joked. This tyrant of heaven and earth is a major enemy of Gojo Satoru, and many people even think that Riko Tenuchi, one of Gojo Satoru's most likely CPs, died in the hands of Zenin. Zenin even had a grudge against Gojo Satoru for killing his wife. Of course, these are just some viewers' imaginations, but it has to be said that Zenin Shear played an important role in Gojo Satoru's life. It can even be said that Gojo Satoru's future changes, Shayuji's final change, and the two's final parting ways all started from the astral assassination mission carried out by Zenin Shear. Really, it seems that Ming, you have a good impression of that person. From the looks of it, you should also be attending this party. If there is a chance, let's go and get to know each other. Because of Gojo Naru's words, Gojo Satoru's original entanglement suddenly disappeared. Next, the two of them have to face the situation they least like to deal with. Family gathering. Seeing Gojo Shani entering with Gojo Satoru and Gojo Ming, everyone shut their mouths and stopped talking. This party was so big that the Gojo family even sent out 2 Six Eyes for this event, which also showed that the Gojo family attached great importance to this party. Gojo Ming doesn't mind being the center of everyone's attention. However, at this time, the young Gojo Satoru is not yet the future king of pressure, and he will still be somewhat uncomfortable with this environment. Gojo Naru walked forward silently, shielding Gojo Satoru from other people's eyes. At the same time, his pair of pseudo Six Eyes were also searching the main hall for any familiar faces. Zenin Shear. Oh, sitting there. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming immediately found the location of the Tyrant of Heaven and Earth. Obviously, this Tyrant of Heaven and Earth currently does not have a very good relationship with other members of the family, even his brother Zenin. The two of them have nothing to say. Zenin fan. Oh, I didn't expect that the elder of the Zenin family leading the team this time would be the father of future Zenin Maki and Zenin Mai. This guy is not a good person. They are also twins. The experience between him and Satoru is much better than that of the Mai Maki sisters. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming looked at the middle-aged man who was chatting happily with Gojo's twin curse faction, and his expression looked a little gloomy. It really made him feel that there seemed to be no normal people in this Zenin family except Fushiguro Megumi. Well, why does this little girl look familiar? Does it look like Ieri Shoko from the future? Let me go, Shoko can even wear buns. This style is very different from his future appearance. Close black lens bracket. If Shoko's current appearance is photographed and shown to her in the future, will it make her feel socially dead? Close black lens bracket. For Shoko, who has always been relatively calm, Gojo Ming has always had some bad taste in his heart, always wanting to see how Ieri Shoko will look panicked in the future. Originally, Gojo Ming thought that Ieri Shoko and Gojo Satoru had known each other since they were in high school at least. Unexpectedly, Ieri Shoko appeared at this party. It seemed that the elders of the Ieri family were treating the head of the family this time, so little Shoko was left alone. If you have a chance later, take Satoru with you to get acquainted with Shoko. Shoko's talent in reversal techniques can be regarded as unique in the entire Jujutsu Kaisen world. If you establish a relationship in advance, if you really encounter any crisis in the future, you might be able to use Shoko's healing techniques. Hey, who is this young man next to Shoko? Why does it look familiar, but I can't remember who it is. Close black lens bracket. It shouldn't be. If there are characters who appear in the main plot, I should be able to remember almost all of them. Close black lens bracket. Gojo Ming's eyes kept focusing on this young man, and at the same time he kept searching for the pictures in his memory, but he couldn't find the place where this young man appeared. So, why do you think it looks familiar? Since he appears here, he must be someone related to the Jujutsu Master family, right? The Kamo family members among the big 3 sorcerer families. Probably not. The only person I am familiar with from the Kamo family is the one who is good at red blood exercises. It's not the Kamo family. Is it someone related to Kyoto High School? It didn't seem to be the case. Portraits of Jujutsu masters appeared in Gojo Ming's mind. Finally, when he flipped through the pictures of the 4 special Jujutsu masters, he paused. The 4 great special Jujutsu masters, Okatsu Yuta. Yes, the young man in front of him looks very similar to the future god of war of pure love, Okatsu Yuta. In fact, he is even the grown-up version of Okatsu Yuta. In the current timeline, Okatsu Yuta has not yet been born, so the identity of the person in front of him can be made clear. This man is Okatsu Yuta's father. Gojo Naru raised his eyebrows slightly, his attention completely focused on Okatsu Yuta's cheap dad. Today's party is really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Close black lens bracket. The strongest Six Eyes Jujutsu master in the future, Gojo Satoru. The most physically powerful Jujutsu master killer in the future, the Tyrant of Heaven and Earth, Zenin Shear. Ieri Shoko, the future reversal technique master and the strongest nanny. And, the future super Jujutsu master with the most powerful magic power, the father of Okatsu Yuta. Close black lens bracket. I should be able to stand on the same level as these people in the future, right? After all, this system is not just for free. Close black lens bracket. While Gojo Ming was lost in thought, Gojo Satoru also followed Gojo Ming's gaze and swept over Zenin, Ieri Shoko and Okatsu Yugito. He knew that his younger brother was definitely not an ordinary person, someone who could attract his attention, so naturally he had to pay more attention to him. One man and two women. This tall man seems to have been the one who peeped at us in the garden before. The other man has not been seen before, but the spell in his body seems to be very strong. Close black lens bracket. This girl, looks quite cute. Is she the type Ming likes? Close black lens bracket. Gojo Satoru and Gojo Naruto are the protagonists of the entire party, and their every move will naturally attract the attention of those who come. If Gojo Naru's observation actions were ignored before, then Gojo Satoru's actions were noticed by the Gojo family's twin curse faction. Originally, this time, they were very dissatisfied with letting Gojo Ming attend this party. In their opinion, Gojo Satoru is Six Eyes and the true successor of the Eyes of the Sky, while Gojo Ming is just a pseudo Six Eyes and has no qualifications as a Jujutsu master at all. However, what happened before caused Gojo of the Gemini Curse faction to change his stance instantly, which forced Gojo Shangyan, the veteran of the Curse faction, to think more carefully. Therefore, at this gathering, the Curse faction did not prevent Gojo Ming from appearing. However, they will still try their best to eliminate Gojo Ming's influence on other Jujutsu master families. Before, they were worried about how to distinguish Gojo Satoru and Gojo Naru at the party. Now, seeing Gojo Naru holding a katana in his hand, they were able to distinguish them accurately. Satoru, you look in good spirits today. Gojo Shangyan, as the representative of the Gojo family at this gathering, was also responsible for organizing the entire gathering. His opening directly focused everyone's attention on Gojo Satoru. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.